Okay, that first part is going to be my origin with respect to that origin. So that part is going to be fixed with respect to the origin of the assembly, right? So I don't want to drag it out and place it somewhere floating in mid-air. I want, if I click OK right now, it's going to fix it with respect to my origin. So I'm going to put it back.
You can edit that, right?
Yeah, edit that later on. Again, your first part should always be with respect to that origin. Assembly, I'm going to insert component, browse. So it's going to be slider block 2. And so right now it's not mated. So if I do
2 4s.
So I'm gonna, let's say I'm gonna start mate. I'm gonna let's do a parallel with that face, right? Now I can't rotate it. Let's say there's an axis here. I can't rotate it around that axis. Let's utilize advanced mates. So if I go to mate, I have my standard mates, and then if I go down, there's advanced mates and mechanical mates. Again, depending on, I would love to get more into slots and hinges and gears and all that fun stuff, depending on how much time we have. Hopefully we can cover some of it, but let's jump into advanced mates. I want to utilize my width. So what advanced mate does is let's say I have a block let's say I have a gap or a block that's 2 millimeter wide, and I have a slider that has a cut that's 4 millimeter, right? It's bigger than that extruded boss that's 2 millimeter, but I want it to always be centered with respect to that 2 millimeters. I want 1 millimeter on each side. So that's when I utilize my advanced mate. So I select, let's say, width selections. These are the 2 faces here. Identify my tab. It's going to be that. So it's going to be centered with respect to that. Let's add another mate, these faces. We can add a standard mate. Let's add a coincident. Right now it's sliding. Let's say I want to add a distance mate to lock that. I'm going to add a coincident, but I want to add the distance. Or what I can do if I want it to be centered, right? Always centered. If I delete that, clear selections. If I go to my advanced mates, again, go to width. I'm going to do that. So I want my width selection to be these 2 faces. My tab, whatever tab, it's going to be always centered. So if I go in, I open that part. Let's say I change that to, let's say I change that cut. Let's do 6. I go back to my assembly. It's going to update, and it's always going to be in the center. Again, design intent, everything is driven. Everything is defined. Because let's say I add a distance mate, right? And I center it, I find out what my distance is, I know what my width is, and I add a distance mate so it's centered, or and I change my overall width or depth, then that distance is going to be the same. It's not going to be centered anymore, right? Does that make sense? So you're utilizing that advanced mate. I'm telling it, okay, these 2 faces are always centered with respect to that tab. Yes.
Which one is the one that lets you move it within a certain range? Like, isn't there one that will let you like slide it in between there, but it will hit the walls and like not move past that?
Yeah, you can add some end conditions. We'll get to that later. So again, the only reason I'm doing this, right? We built another part and we just created an assembly. Is I'm hoping all this is review. Maybe not the advanced mate part, but just mating a part to another part. Is that review?
Yeah.
Yes. Not the advantage.
Not the advanced mate.
Now, do you have the bores lined up? If you slip the pin in there for that thing to stay centered on, because that, you know that that's lined up this way?
Depending on how I built that part, I'm not sure.
Because in the real life, that's the only thing that's gonna control it. There's nothing really gonna keep it in the center.
Yeah.
But it's that bore down the center that it'll be lined up on.
Yeah. I could have made it. I could have added this to be concentric with that.
Yeah.
Depending on if that distance from that center to that edge is the same,
Well,
or
that's
that
what-
bottom face.
I missed one of your lectures, but basically, the thing could fall out this way right now.
Fall out what way?
If it's upside down, it should fall out.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're talking about real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just again, this is just
So-
mating things.
But if you line up the bores, then it won't do that.
Right. Yes.
To make the bores.
But you would need a pin.
So do you need one width selection when you're doing the advanced? Do you need two references for the width, or do you just need one? And then the tab selection is. I guess I was just having trouble seeing what the width selection and the tab selection exactly.
So your width is whatever that part it's going to be.
Straddling.
Yeah, the centered part.
Okay.
And then your tab is your overall where you want it to be centered with respect to that
Okay.
gap or tab.